So, yoga Citta Vritti Nirodaha, when the fluctuations of the mind, or when we have control over the fluctuations of the mind, that's where yoga is. That's where yoga happens. Now, this is an interesting one because it's very much, again, I said Sutra 1.1, which is just basically presence is when yoga happens. Sutra 1.2 is saying that what presence means is that we are no longer distracted by the five vrittis, the five qualities of the mind or aspects of the mind, which are, let's see, how can we say this? Misconception, undistorted knowledge, imagination, sleep, and what did I miss out on? Imagination, sleep, and distorted knowledge. Let me just check. What's the fifth one? Memory, of course, the easy one. So I forgot my memory, the quality of my mind. So we have the five qualities of the mind: undistorted knowledge, direct perception, or misconception. Sorry, these two are kind of contrasting aspects of the mind. We have the ability in the mind to, through our senses, to understand in our experiences, to know what is true. The ability can come from, we can find truth from trusted sources such as scientific studies. We can find from our own senses, our own experience, and from perhaps a teacher of some sorts, like these yoga teachings are about experiencing truth. And now hopefully what happens is a combination of the two. We have like someone that we trust is giving us information, and then our experience through our senses, our direct perception, come together and say, this is the truth. Now that would be undistorted knowledge that we gain when those two worlds come together. Now, the other side of it, and this is where it gets fun, is misconception, and that is everything we've been talking about so far. When we talked about samskaras altering our perception, so our past experiences form patterns that alter the way that we see life through the eyes, through our ears. That's why if you stand in a room and look at an art piece with several people, everyone's going to have a different emotional experience, different thought. And if you ask them to express themselves about that painting, most people are going to have a different expression of what they see and what they feel from it. So we all have unique qualities, which is great. We want that. But what happens when it comes to knowledge, and you can see this, we can throw out all the facts in the world based on scientific studies, but if we haven't directly experienced that fact ourselves, or if we've had an opposite because of our perception, then we can have a whole world of arguments, which is what happens in life. So two contrasting qualities of the mind are undistorted knowledge and misconception. We have the ability to do both. Thank you. Then we have sleep and memory and imagination. So when all five qualities cease to arise, you think about waves on a surface. These are like the qualities of the mind. Imagine that the surface of the ocean is rough. Okay, that's kind of what happens in the mind. Now, the way that I interpret it, please allow me to kind of give you my perception of what has helped me, is that it's not that we're trying to just stop all the waves and calm the surface. It's not that we're trying to calm the qualities of the mind. It's actually, I'd rather, in my perspective, and I think this is a little bit more of a tantric viewpoint, is to embrace that these five qualities exist and say, wow, I've got the mind. That is an incredible mechanism that allows me to experience life. And instead of just rejecting it and finding shame about it being human, I recognize that that's the surface of my experience, the waves. But if I put my attention below the surface into the stillness, unwavering, unchanging experience that is also available to me, maybe not on the level of consciousness of the mind, but on a deeper level of consciousness, or if you want to say higher level of consciousness, whatever that might be for you. When you go beyond that surface level and into the depth of who we are, we could say that's the layers of awareness or bliss, that is where yoga happens. So yoga Citta Vritti Nirodaha, when the fluctuations of the mind cease to exist, or my personal interpretation of that is when you harness your attention and direct it below the surface level of the mind and into the depth of who we are, that is where yoga exists, below the surface. So think of it, as we talked about the koshas, we have this outer layer of the physical body. We want to attend to it. We want to pay attention to it, take care of it, love it, embrace it. And as we are doing all of that, if we're doing it consciously, we're strengthening the core of us, attention itself, or awareness itself. Then we want to attend to the next layer deep, which is the energy that pulses through this physical body, the breath and the energy that comes from the breath, the energy that comes from our food. So what are we putting into our system energetically? Are we sleeping enough? Are we doing the things like that make us feel good? Okay, then the next layer deep, the mind. Are we attending to the qualities of our mind? Are we watching it on a daily basis? Are we observing it? Are we contemplating, allowing that? Are we allowing the 5 vrittis to take hold? So are we practicing meditation? Meaning, or let's say this, are we practicing imagination? Are we letting ourselves have time to imagine? And are we going through all the layers of the mind in order? Are we attuned to the emotional layer? The thoughts and the emotions are all mind layer, by the way. So are we paying attention to these outer layers? What happens when we do is we strengthen that tool that we call attention, which allows us to penetrate deeper than each layer, to experience the depth of who we are. At the center here, we have awareness and bliss. So yoga Citta Vritti Nirodaha is when you not get rid of the qualities of the mind, but learn to harness your attention and drive deeper and ask yourself, what am I focusing on? This is something that I could say I learned in my least favorite coffee shop in the world, the green one. When I was in college, I was a musician studying at a music school, and it was an interesting time because they really required us to academically be studying nonstop, but then also trying to learn our instrument. So I would academically study in the green monster of a coffee shop, and I'd be studying with my headphones on, trying to simultaneously listen to jazz music and educate my mind on that level. And then I would get out my guitar and I'd plug in my headphones, and then I would go back into the studying and take off my headphones. And I remember one point I realized there was tons of people around me, conversations happening, tons of visual stimulus. I could smell coffee. I could smell the pumpkin loaf that someone just got, and all the distractions were there, but I was not attending to anything but what I was doing in that one moment. So that was a time for me where all of the fluctuations of the mind ceased for a moment. They still existed. I became aware that I wasn't attending to them, and I was attending to this one thing that I was doing right now. Okay, so yoga Citta Vritti Nirodaha can happen in any moment. It's not like you have to sit on top of a mountaintop. You don't have to be in the most perfect place on earth to experience the funneling of your attention down into one point. You can do it right now. So this is what our focus is today, to go beyond the layers of the mind, beyond the aspects of distraction of the qualities, and into funneling our attention into awareness itself. Now, what we're going to do, physically speaking, is continue on the path of outer hip engagement, which we worked on, the abductors. I don't know if I named them for you, but your outer hips, we did a lot of work on in the last class. And that was squeezing the outer hip in to lift the other hip up. We did some kind of internal rotation, lift the leg up, internally rotate, lift the leg up. We push the backs of the hamstrings apart. We internally rotated in order to create the arm balance. And all of this was a combination of the adductor muscles, inner thighs, and outer hip muscles. Now, we take that same hip awareness, specifically the outer hip muscles, the abductor group, which is gluteus medius, minimus, and also we consider TFL, tensor fasciae lata, in that category, helping us to internally rotate, and abduct, which is push the legs out. And now we're going to add on the upper body. So we did a little arm balancing and I gave you some tips, but I'd like you to focus on the physical body today. The upper body is imagining, I'm deciding if I want to use this block just yet. Sorry. Let's go like this. Take your arms, maybe you've seen that movie Karate Kid where they do the wax on and wax off situation. Some of you are like, yeah, totally. Some of you are like, this kid is weird. If you've seen that movie, or you can imagine this idea of wax off, it's an external rotation of the upper arm bone. If you do that with me, you'll see the bicep, the initiation of it, the bicep is inward. Then as you externally rotate, the bicep rotates outward. Now, this is the position right here, wax off, that the humerus, the glenohumeral joint, has a lot of stability. And that's what we want to use when we're in arm balances. Stability of the glenohumeral joint, which is where the shoulder is. Same thing with the other arm. Try it with me. Wax off. And then this is external rotation of the glenohumeral joint. So let's do it with both hands. Wax off. Now, here's the interesting thing is when you activate your wax off muscles, your external rotators of the glenohumeral joint, your rotator cuff, but your hands are fixed on the ground. As a result, if you did that here, you would see that your elbows would rotate backward. So, and that's because your hands can't move on the ground. So what moves is you would see the elbows move. Okay, and you would feel your shoulder blades kind of downwardly rotate. That's the opposite of upward rotation. If you saw my how to avoid shoulder impingement stuff, when you take your arm up overhead, lift the shoulder up, that's upward rotation. Now, when you externally rotate and your arms are by your sides and your hands are fixed, that creates downward rotation, which is a very stable place for the scapula. Okay, so we have a lot of stability so far. External rotation of the glenohumeral joint. Don't worry if you don't remember the terms, just wax off. Then we have this downward rotation of the scapula that happens as a result of this when the hands are on the ground. And you can initiate it by kind of pulling the outer scapula down. Okay. Then in conjunction, the last step of this three-part upper body action is push. And when you push, I think of like I've got two, kind of like who's that guy? That comic book character who's got those like fireballs. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Two hands have fire inside them, and you're gonna push and like kind of you're gonna shoot fire out of your hands, and that's gonna be coming from the circumference of your heart. So the front ribs pull back, the arm bones externally rotate. We downwardly rotate the scapula, and then push, which is protraction of the scapula. We started that protraction action last time, and now we're adding on. Most of the stuff you know already. I just wanted you to see the external rotation with the push and the widening of the back body. Okay, now if you can get that, that is going to be the foundation for 90% of your arm balances. This. And you have to imagine that there is a lot of heat coming out of your hand from the back of your heart through the palm. If you do that, you'll get all the muscles to activate. The pectorals, the muscle called the serratus anterior. All right, so that's our focus for today. We'll get to it in a moment, but let's warm up. Start at the top of your mat, standing today. 2 blocks will be helpful if you've got them nearby. Feet apart. Bend the knees a little bit. Take a breath in, lift the head. Exhale it out. Okay, let's do this. Take your arms on the inhale, reach them forward, and then wax off. Exhale, then push the fire forward. And we do it again. Inhale like a big circle. And then push, pull the ribs back. Think about dialing the hands out. Again, gather all the strength and inhale. A little bigger circle now. One more time. Okay, reach the arms up. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow to the earth. Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale and bow. To the sunrise, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. To the heart as you exhale. Inhale, reach up. To the earth. Halfway lift, inhale. Left foot back as you exhale. Hold here, pull the feet toward each other. Take an inhale, lift up. Exhale, lengthen the top of the skull forward. Full breath in. On this exhale, twist, turn the navel, turn the chest. Again, inhale, touch the ground, fill up the back body. Use your exhale to turn the belly. Inhale, touch. Exhale, twist. Inhale, hands to the ground. Turn the back heel down as you exhale. Now make sure you're not collapsing. Lift up nice and tall. Take a breath in. Push through your right heel. Exhale, turn. Left hand to the sky. Let's do that again. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Step to downward facing dog as you exhale. Forward to plank pose. Inhale. Knees lower down. Bend the elbows. Chaturanga. Interlace the hands behind the back. Forehead onto the ground. Slide the hands to the low back and shrug your shoulders toward your ears and toward each other. So retract your scapula. That's the opposite of what we've been doing in the fire throwing. Stretch the hands to the sky. Press the pelvis down. Inhale, rise up. Reach the toes back. Exhale, release. Again, reach the toes back. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. One more. Activate the back muscles. Inhale. Reach the toes back. Exhale, release. Hands to the ground. Inhale to all fours. Exhale, tailbone up, downward facing dog. Let's take a full breath in together. Exhale it out. Full breath in together. And exhale it out. Inhale, lift the heels, look forward. As you exhale, step, walk, or hop. Halfway lift when you get there. And exhale, bow. To the sun, rise up. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Hands to the heart, exhale. Let's do a little fire throwing. Inhale, arms reach out. Gather strength, and then pull the solar plexus back and push through the heel of your hand. Inhale. Exhale. Push. Middle back rounded. Inhale one more time. Gather strength. Remember, externally rotate the arms like you're opening up a can on both arms. Inhale, reach up. Bow to the earth. Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Right foot steps back as you exhale.
Take a breath in. Get light in the hips, strong in the legs, rooted in the feet. Kick your left heel down. Take a full inhalation. Use the exhale, twist. Inhale, touch. Move from your core, so twist from your belly first. Then let the shoulder, elbow, and hand follow. Inhale. From your center. Inhale. Exhale, back heel down. Left hand to the inside of the foot. Let's take a breath in, pull your feet toward each other. Again, use your exhale, turn your belly first. Then shoulder follows, elbow, hand. Inhale. Kick your left heel down. Exhale, belly, shoulder, arm. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Step downward facing dog. Plank pose. Inhale. Chaturanga, knees down, lower. Slide the hands now, fingertips. Inhale, round. Soften the heart between your shoulder blades. Reach your toes back. Inhale, lift the heart up. Exhale, release. Same thing, round, inhale. Exhale, soften. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release. Let's do one more time. Inhale, round. Exhale, softness. Inhale, lengthen upward. Heart forward. Exhale, release. Now come to all fours. Inhale. Hold here, lean forward, exhale, Ardha Chaturanga. So half Chaturanga, meaning knees on the ground. Pause when you're on an upright angle and a micro bend of the elbows. Hold here, rotate the arms outward like you're trying to dial the hands or the fingertips outward until you feel your elbows kind of cinch inward a little towards your rib cage. And then come back up. And now I want to be clear. I don't mean put your elbows into your ribs so that you're resting on. I mean, your hands are fairly wide. You'll get more power with a wider base of support. I know a lot of people talk about hands in. That will be predominantly tricep muscles and pec minor. Why not recruit more of the like pectoral major muscle as well as the serratus anterior by taking your hands a little bit wider, and then initiating that external rotation will hug the arm into your side body, not put it underneath you, okay? So let's come to Ardha Chaturanga again. So half plank first, lean forward, then bend the elbows a micro bend, pause here, and dial your hands out like you're trying to turn the mat outward underneath both palms, like you're trying to turn your hands outward. That will start to initiate the upper arm externally rotating. Lift your head slightly and pulse a little like you're gonna do a push-up or like you're gonna jump off your hands. Pulse to get your muscles activated, and make sure your shoulder heads aren't dipping down like this. Keep the shoulder heads up by moving your shoulder blades down the back slightly. Okay, then come on up and downward facing dog. Well done. Nice to get the upper body starting heating up. Let's take a full breath in together and exhale it out. Shift forward into plank pose, either on knees or chaturanga, halfway, pause, not even halfway, a little higher than halfway. Push, pulse, and lower down, knees, thighs, belly. Hands wide, fingertips. Inhale, round. Exhale, shoulders back. Open up the muscles you just strengthened. Inhale, lift the heart up, stretch the belly. Exhale, release. All fours, inhale. Fingers active, by the way. Exhale, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Full breath out. Again, inhale. Exhale. Lift the heels up on the inhale, look forward. Empty it out, hop or step lightly. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and bow. Rise up to the sun in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's go over again, Chaturanga. So hands like this. Here's your Chaturanga. I'm going to show you different angles. Okay, so you're in Chaturanga, except of course, you're not bearing any weight right now. Notice your shoulders probably aren't punching forward like this. This is called what's called upward tilt or anterior tilt of the scapula when the shoulder blade climbs over your rib cage like this. We're not doing that when we're here, and that's because there's no weight bearing. So when you go on the ground, we want to make sure we don't do that as well. What that does is an overactivation of pec minor, and pec minor doesn't really do much in terms of holding us up. It just stops us from falling by pushing our joints together, okay? So instead, think about pushing from the source behind your heart. That'll activate your abdominals through what's called the serratus anterior, which is a muscle that actually does pushing, through the triceps, and all the way through the flexors of the wrists, which are the fingers. So that will get our full push power. Ready? Push. Again. One more time. Exhale, push. Okay, rise to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow to the earth, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, inhale. Step or hop back, fingers grip, Chaturanga. Slide hands wide, fingertips, inhale. Exhale, shoulders back, heart forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. All fours, using your fingers, grip the ground, push. Tailbone up, downward facing dog. Right leg to the sky. Inhale. Knee to nose, round the upper back, plank, shoulder blades separate from each other. Inhale, back and up. Knee to nose, exhale, round the upper back, separate your shoulder blades, push the ground. Inhale, back and up. This time with a little momentum, knee to nose, and then step, right foot forward. Push your heel down, rise up, high lunge. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, the same exercise, ready? Inhale, reach like a big circle. Exhale, rib cage goes back, elbows and heel of the hand goes forward, round the back. Inhale, big circle. Exhale, push, a little micro bend of the elbows. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, inhale, reach the arms up. Open up warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Groins go back. Keeping the groins back, press your heel down. Get light. Now let's go over internal and external rotation in the arms. We're gonna be doing more of this on Saturday, by the way, when we do our shoulder opening class. But just so we have the understanding here, you can inhale, internally rotate the arms like this, breathe into your back body. Exhale, externally rotate so the bicep faces upward. Inhale, internally rotate. Exhale, externally rotate. Inhale, internally rotate. Exhale, externally rotate. And make sure the top of the shoulder head stays back, okay? So move your shoulders back, hold. Keep the palms face up for today. Take a full breath in, lifting through the pinky side of your hand. One more, inhale. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, side angle pose. Forearm on the thigh, groins back again. Push your right heel down, turn the belly, turn the chest. Now for today, what I'd like to do is focus on the outer hip of your front leg. So if you can, place your right hand down onto a block or the fingertips, whichever you got. And then press your knee out into the arm so you feel your outer hip muscles, your abductors. Now, while you do that, your chest will start to turn down. I'd like you to turn your chest away from the leg and the leg away from your chest. They're both pushing in opposite directions, creating an expansion in the front. Take the left arm up. Full breath in. Full breath out. Full breath in. And out. One more breath in. Hand to the ground. Plank pose, inhale. Chaturanga. Slide the hands, fingertips wide. Inhale, round the back. Soften. Inhale, lengthen.
Exhale, release.
Plank, inhale. Exhale, down dog. Left leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward. Heel presses down, rise, inhale. Hands to heart, exhale. Full focus on what you're doing. Yoga Citta Vritti Nirodaha. If you focus completely on what you're doing, it is natural for the mind or the fluctuations of the mind, the waves of the surface to release. You might already start feeling it as you channel your energy into the depths of who you are. Your attention starts to build. So let's do this again together. Inhale, big circles. Focus on the power. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Hold here, take a full breath in, and move your groins, your hips back. So like you're gonna sit in a chair behind you. Press your left heel down, fire up your buttock muscles. Yoga Citta Vritti Nirodaha, when we harness our attention and direct it inward, then we are no longer distracted by the surface of the ocean that is wavy and rocky. We can go deep into that stillness within. Let's do the arms. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Hold here. Turn the gaze. When we go below the surface, we can find that stillness we crave. Reverse warrior. Inhale. Exhale, side angle. Groins go back. Left heel presses down. Now I'll take the left hand either onto the block or fingertips. Again, the contrasting actions that we're attending to are press your left knee out into your arm so you feel your outer gluteus muscles, your abductor muscles. Then against that action, turn your navel away from the chest. So left knee presses out into your arm, chest turns away from the knee. Take the arm up and let's breathe here. Yoga Citta Vritti Nirodaha, which is again, when we take the mind below the surface, when we direct our attention below the surface level of the mind, below the waves, we can find that stillness that is deep inside, underneath the ocean surface exists that stillness. Release the hand. Come to plank pose, please. Inhale. Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide. Inhale, round. Open. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. All fours, inhale. Exhale, down dog. Full breath in. And full breath out. Inhale. And exhale. Let's lift the heels up on the inhale, look forward. Empty the breath, hop or step. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and bow. To the sunrise, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Chaturanga with arms, inhale, or exhale, sorry. Inhale, reach big circle. Chaturanga arms. Micro bend of the elbow, just micro. Inhale. Exhale, throw it. Arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. To the earth, bow, Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Step or hop back, chaturanga. Fingers grip the ground, then slide wide. Inhale, round. Exhale, soften. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, release. All fours, inhale, or plank. Exhale, down dog. Right leg goes to the sky, inhale. Step right foot forward. Push your right heel down, rise all the way up. Open warrior 2. Reverse warrior, inhale. Side angle pose as you exhale. Left arm up. Take a big circle, inhale, straighten the right leg, Trikonasana. Exhale, hand to the ground, bend the knee. Inhale, straighten, Trikonasana, turn the heart. Exhale, bend the knee, arm towards the earth. One more time, inhale, straighten, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Exhale, hand to the ground. Back heel up, inhale, plank. Let's take a micro chaturanga. So small bend, lean forward and grip the ground. Pause, pause, hold, stay lifted, stay light. Push the ground away. Then place the knees down, lower all the way to the earth. Slide the fingers wide. Inhale, round. Exhale, softness. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, release. All fours or plank. Inhale. Push. Exhale, down dog. Realizing left side knee to nose didn't happen, so inhale, left leg up. Knee to chest. Exhale, round the back, lean forward, grip the ground. Inhale, left leg back and up. Knee to chest, round. Squeeze the knee in tight. Inhale, back and up. This time with momentum, same thing, but step. Inhale, rise, high lunge. Open, warrior 2. Flip the palms, reverse warrior. Inhale. Side angle pose. Circle the arms, straighten the left leg on the inhale, Trikonasana. Side angle, exhale. Inhale, Trikonasana. Exhale. One more time, inhale, triangle. Exhale, hands to the ground. Inhale, plank pose. Chaturanga. Slide the hands wide. Inhale, round. Exhale, softness. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, release. Come to all fours, please. Hands and knees, inhale. And pause here, exhale. Grip your fingers into the ground and find anterior tilt of your pelvis so that it stick your buttocks up to the sky. Now, protract the scapula. So if you have to, I would recommend retract first so you feel the opposite action. That means soften your heart. That's what we do in cobra pose. Now push, like plank pose, protract. When you protract, your tailbone will tend to tuck. It's hard, but the natural curves of the spine are actually to round the upper back and to arch the lower back. So we try to find those natural curves with muscle activation. Now, like we did the other day, yesterday, or last practice that is, we sagged the hip out to the side for a second to feel that. So sag your left hip out to the side and try to lift your right leg up and out to the right while sagging outward. You'll see you don't get very far. Let's do the other side. Lean to your right hip, sag it out to the right, and then try to lift your left leg. You'll notice it doesn't go very far, okay? So the thing here is to get height out of the leg, we have to activate both outer hips of the standing leg and the upper leg at the same time, and that gives us maximum range of motion for what's called abduction. So sag into your right hip for a second, and then do the opposite while lifting your left knee up. Squeeze your right hip in by pushing the right knee down and out, then lift the left leg up. Now, if possible, get light on your right hand and turn your chest back towards the ground if it opened, okay? Then take your right arm out to the side. Full breath in and release. Let's do that on the other side. So sag your left hip to the left for a moment. Then squeeze it in as you lift your right knee up. Keep it squeezed in and lift your right foot and knee up like a dog at the hydrant. Keep your left hip squeezed in as you take your left arm out to the side and try to parallel your chest. So your chest is trying to turn to the left Your hips are trying to turn to the right. Take a full breath in. Exhale, release. Now what you'll feel is if you actually do that, you get your hips to turn your pelvis and your chest to turn back, is your oblique muscles, the muscles that we worked in the fire, the core line, are going to really fire up in opposition of the outer hips. Now they know that if they're weak, a lot of people ask this question, well, how do I strengthen my core? How do I strengthen my outer hips? This is the exercise. If you find that this is hard, this is the one. The one that you find challenging is the one to do. So let's do it again. Why not? We all want to get stronger, don't we? Sag the left hip to the left for a second, then squeeze it back into the center, and then follow that by lifting your right leg up. Then lift the whole right leg up and out. Now, lift your heart away from the ground, so protract your scapula and take your left arm up and out to the left. Your hips open to the right, chest opens to the left. Take a full breath in. Release with control. Other side, sag your right hip out. Then squeeze your right hip in and lift the left knee. Protract, push the ground away and lift the left leg up. Get light on the right hand. Right hip is still in. Push, round, and take the right hand out. Now the left leg lifts, right chest lifts against each other. Left hip lifts, right chest lifts. And release. All right, that should feel all sorts of good. Inhale, arch the back, look up. Exhale, down dog. Now in downward facing dog, let's find those same outer hip muscles. Push the back of your legs apart and hold. Now remember, the more you funnel your attention into your physical body, the more attention itself gets strong. And attention is basically the key that opens the door to awareness. In order to get below the surface of our mind, below the crashing waves, all the vrittis, then we have to strengthen our attention so that we can focus and force it to go deeper inside. Okay, so that's really up to us to harness that. And that is the yoga practice in its entirety, harnessing our attention to go deep below the surface so that we can experience the stillness of all that is. Lift the heels up on the inhale. Empty the breath, hop or step to the front. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale and bow. Bend your knees, please. Chair pose. Inhale. Now in your chair pose, place your hands on your right thigh. I'll face you. Sag, I'll mirror you as well. Sag your right hip out to the right for a second. Then squeeze it in like we did the other day. This time, keep it in. And instead of focusing so much on internal rotation, just keep your kneecap straight ahead and lift it up, okay? So for many of us, that will be internally rotating for sure. If you start turning like this, keep the tailbone lifted, leg as is. Release. Come to the other side. Sag your right hip out to the right, left hip out to the left, and then squeeze your left hip in. Now keep it that way. Come up onto the tippy toes of your right foot, and then lift it straight up, keeping the knee facing straight forward. Hold here. Take a full breath in, and release. You should start to feel either cramping or engagement of these hip flexor muscles, TFL, your abductor muscles, your gluteus medius and minimus, that is. Okay, let's take a full breath in, Tadasana. Exhale it out. Bend your knees. Take your left elbow to the right thigh. Place the palms together. Now press your right knee a little outward. That will start to initiate a turn of your chest. And press your right outer hip under, like we did last class, and scoop your tailbone. From here, your left foot gets light. Hold that and slide like you're literally painting the yoga mat with your left foot back. Holding this, press your right heel down and turn your chest. Full breath in and out. Full breath in. Use your exhales to twist. Use your inhales to inflate the back of your heart. Okay, slowly. Left knee goes down. Right hand to the right. Right foot to the right. Bend the back knee. I know you missed our thigh stretches last time, so let's do it. Kick your foot gently into your hand to turn the heart. Curl the heart back. Full breath in.
And out. One more breath only. Okay, release the thigh stretch. Wiggle the right foot back in. You're going to stick your right butt up and out to the right. Place your forearms onto the block or the ground. Take a full breath in and out. One more breath in and out. Okay, hands to the ground. Step forward, please, halfway lift. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Bend the knees, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, we place right tricep to thigh. So first thing you can do is sag your left hip to the left and then squeeze it in and scoop it. Press your left knee a little into your elbow to turn the chest slightly. Then paint, maybe a few times, paint the right foot back so you can transition lightly. And then use your left knee for today to press slightly, not a lot, but slightly out. It'll start to turn your chest. Now we use our inhales to inflate the back body. Like rounding, that is. Exhales to turn the belly. Inhales, we inflate the back body. Exhale. Turn the belly. Inhale. One more breath. Okay, slowly release. We turn the left foot out to the left. Right hand goes to the right. And we take our thigh stretch. Kick the foot back into the hand. Press the heart forward. Full breath in. And out. One more breath in. And out. Okay, release. Bring the leg in a little bit. Stick your left butt up and out to the left and take your elbows to the block or the ground. Relax your forehead. 2 more breaths. Okay, come on up. Please step forward. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bow forward. Chair pose. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, stand up, hands to heart. All right, take your right leg, right knee up towards your chest. I'll mirror you. Take your hand across. This knee, so this hand goes outside the knee. The knee's going to press outward a little bit. The arm, the shoulder, is going to pull back against one another. Then, in the middle, you've got your core. So, use not the twisting or the shoulder. These two neutralize each other. Use your abdominals on the exhales to twist, and then take your left arm out. And this is a little bit different than the approach we took for the fire line, by the way. It's not the same approach. This is utilizing a little bit more of the back muscles as well. Take a full breath in here. Exhale, twist. Inhale, back to center. I hope that I've gotten across to you, really, that there's not one technique all around that serves everything, that it's the awareness of the physical body. Awareness is what we're trying to cultivate. And I mentioned this in our Zoom session the other day, that if something, I will bring to you one technique, and then I might bring you the opposite. The purpose is not to understand the technique itself or to even understand the posture, but to understand yourself, your physical body. So this is, again, a little bit different than the fire line. We're not doing this whole pull-in and everything. It's a different concept and a different approach that I'd like you to take on for the purpose of getting to know your physical body. Right knee comes up. Take your left hand across the outer knee. The knee kicks out into the hand. The shoulder pulls up and back against that. Now what's left in the middle is still the oblique muscles that we're trying to use, So we go, inhale, breathe into the back body. Exhale, use that for the twist. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Let's hold here, inhale. Exhale. Come back to center. And release. Okay, so now take your hands to your outer shins, maybe even your knees. Let's go outer knees, like right below the knee joint. Press your knees in this chair pose position into your hands, but not so that the knees would turn out, but the backs of the legs would push out. So push the backs of your legs into your hands so you find your outer hips, your abductor muscles. Sit a little bit lower. Take a full breath in. And exhale it out. One more breath. Okay, release hands to the ground, straighten legs and bow. Inhale, halfway lift. Step or hop back, chaturanga. Slide the hands wide. Inhale, round the back. Exhale, softness. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Plank if you can, all fours. Exhale, down dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step forward. Inhale, high left. Open up, warrior two. Reverse warrior. Exhale, hand, side angle pose. Hold here. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath in side angle, inhale. And exhale, left hand to the ground. Back knee comes down. Hinge your hips forward. Place your hands on your front knee. Pick your belly up. And then now, like the fire line, you're going to round your back and try to get your left tricep towards the thigh or knee. Breathe into your upper back body. Exhale, twist. Use your core muscles to twist. So more gentle, more subtle, not so forceful with the hands or anything like that, just in the core. Turn by deflating the abdomen. Now slide the left hand, if possible, towards the ground. Right hand up to the sky. You could always use a block. Breathe into the back of your heart. Pull the belly back. One more time. Press your knee out into your arm, by the way. Okay, release. Let's straighten the front leg and bow forward. Take a full breath in here. And exhale it out. Bend the front knee. Step straight to down dog. Forward to plank, inhale. Now just a very mini chaturanga. Lean forward, grip the ground and hold. Shoulders down towards your buttocks. Dial the hands out and grip the ground. Hold here. And down dog. That's fun. Left leg up to the sky. Inhale. Step forward. Kick the ground. Rise. Inhale. Open warrior two. Reverse warrior. Inhale. Side angle pose as you exhale. Hold here. Press the left knee out into your arm. Full breath in. And up. Left knee presses outward. One more breath in. And release. Hand to the ground. Back knee comes down. Hands come to the front thigh. Hinge forward. Lift the belly. And then from the core, turn. So it's not so, see how, not so much from the arms. Take your elbow, tricep, palm together. Again, inhale into the back body. Pull your belly back. That should give you a little bit more range of motion, but not so much that you're forcing this. You see how I can still talk easily? And that's, for me, this is where my body is. Where is your body? Let it be where it's yes, working, but not overworking, okay? So there's work for the sake of developing your sense of self-awareness, for the sake of strength, and then there's over-efforting, which leads to burnout. So I'm gonna be somewhere in that 85% effort range. Take the top arm up. Now press your your front knee out into the arm so you feel your outer hips engaged. So front knee presses out into the arm or the elbow or whatever you have there. Belly back. Okay, and release.
Straighten the front leg, inhale. And bow forward. Let's enjoy here for a full breath in. And out. All right. Bend the knees, place both knees onto the ground. I'm going to show you for the sake of demonstration. This is something I've been doing a lot in the new handstand training for balance that I have online. And that is understanding where the weight placement is. It's really important for handstand, but it's also incredibly important for pretty much everything. But in anything on your hands, using something like a block or water bottles or something that can be vertical like this as an indication for where your forearm is will be really helpful. It's tactile and it's also visual, and it's really a great accountability buddy. So what I do is I take my hand to the ground, and this is something I do in the handstand training too. I just make sure all my fingers are super active, okay? And then I place a forearm, the block directly behind the forearm. Now, most people, when they do that, is they start moving their shoulder like this. You have to get into a place where your shoulder, so that means you have to lean your body forward so your shoulder blade can move down your back, okay? And then the block goes right up against the back. Now, something I said is hands wider. So you see, for most people, the pinkies will be off the mat. Most people, I usually have 2 fingers off the mat, ring fingers and pinkies off the mat, okay? Then you can use one knee at a time to pin the blocks up against your forearms, hold there, and then reach your knees back into basically a plank on knees, okay? Now, shoulder blades down the back, heart goes forward, pause here. Now, a micro bend of the elbows, not by leaning back into the blocks, but by leaning forward, pause. And you see how very small the bend is here? Okay, it's very tiny, but this is where the arm balances exist. Come on out so you don't strain yourself. This is essentially where every arm balance, 90% of the arm balances, I have to check myself because there's a lot of different variations here. But I would say 90% of the arm balances are in that chaturanga prep position. The one we're going to do today is no exception to that. So we'll take Parshva Bakasana, so that's called side crow pose, but the variation of activating the abductors. We did side crow before, I think it was for the fire line, where we used the hip flexors and the psoas and the abdominals, rectus abdominals more, and obliques. This is going to be a little different variation that I really love to share and usually creates more access for some people if the flexibility is there. Okay, so I'm going to show you from the side. You take your hands and you walk them way over. The number one mistake is people don't walk their hands over. Okay, so they start here and then they have nowhere to go. To walk your hands, you see how I have to reach over there? Then I can lean over and lean over. Now, like a dog pees on the fire hydrant, I hold here. I grip my fingers into the ground. Imagine the blocks are behind my forearms. Then I press the bottom knee down into my arm, which is activating the outer hips of my bottom knee. And then I take that chaturanga position. I pretend I'm throwing those fireballs into the earth. Okay, so the position for the upper body from here to here is all the same that you did. The lower body is those fire hydrant positions that we've been doing, okay? So with momentum, it's a little bit easier, but of course, if you don't know where you're going, then the momentum is challenging, okay? So first you have to do it without momentum. It's harder, you build the strength. Then once you know where you're going, it'll become easier because watch, a little momentum. I'm not sure if you can see from there, but my fingers are digging into the ground, activating that line of push from all the way through here. And I can feel the heat go from underneath my skin to the surface because of that power that's coming through, okay? So I'm going to show it again, and hopefully the visual will support you. But the legs are doing the abduction, pushing out. The body, a little bit of fire line, yes, here, okay? And that chaturanga position. And I'm going to show you actually another variation of it. Here's the micro chaturanga I showed you how to do. Here's the side crow I just showed you how to do. Okay, nothing changes in the upper body. Just the lower body changes. So give you a moment to explore. Usually this one's a little bit easier. I know I'm doing this, and a number of you are probably sitting there at home going, what about my hip? Does it rest on my elbow? No, in this variation, no. There's the hip resting on the elbow is a great start. It's a great like beginner variation of the pose, but it doesn't teach you how to use either your core and psoas muscle, like I told you in the fire class, or your abductor muscles, like I'm showing you here, your outer hip muscles, along with your upper body. So if you want to turn off your muscles, then do it that way. You know, that achieves the pose, but it doesn't teach you about the class or about your, doesn't teach you about your body. Harnessing your attention to focus on your body is the goal, not the posture. So if you come away with this knowing a little bit more about how to activate your outer hips or how to activate your fire line from the upper body, from the serratus anterior through your fingers, great. If you do the pose with your hip on your elbow but don't know anything about your body, then it's not worth it, right? So keep playing around. I'll keep showing you different entries. Remember, fingers or hands wide and knees apart will activate both outer hip muscles. Remember we did it on all fours? And I said if you just try to activate one leg, it won't lift. But if you activate both abductors, then you'll get a big expansion, okay? All right, that's our variation for today. Now, here's the fun thing. Those of you that are been practicing arm balances a lot longer, you're probably noticing that from this variation, it's a lot easier to go into what's called Ekapada Kundanyasana 1. So I'll show you that real quick. For those of you that are at home who have side crow in your practice the way I'm teaching it, then all you have to do is extend the bottom leg forward, top leg back. Okay. And this is what makes transitioning easier, is when you cultivate the muscle activation. All right, time to cool down. Let's take a wrist cool down first. Take your left forearm to the ground, left knee rests on top of your forearm. You can just kind of tase yourself by softening. Go a little bit more to the middle of the forearm. And again, you're the masseuse here, so if the pressure is too much, you lean away from the arm, of course. And if being on your knees like this is challenging, you can be more like this with your forearm. And then if that's also challenging, what might be even good for the knee joint, depending on, is putting the arms between. That's a little bit softer for you. Switch arms. I like this one. It's a little bit more intense, but you can kind of be lazy. New spot, maybe more towards the middle. Okay, and let's do a pectoral stretch now. You have two options. If you like to be on the ground, I'll show you from this angle. You would take one arm out to the side, like so. Lift your shoulder up and then roll your torso inside of that. Okay, you could also do this if being on the ground is not as pleasant. You take your hand on the wall the same way. And you turn away from it, stretch the pectoral and the serratus line here, and you're going to feel probably some tingling and some intense line of stretch, not just muscle, but you'll feel the fascia start to stretch, which is different, more maybe the surface level fascia underneath the skin. Who knows? The world is your playground. Switch sides, whichever side you're doing. Try to keep your shoulder head, if you're on the ground, shoulder head comes off the ground if you can, and roll the torso inside of the scapula. If you're at the wall like me, try to keep pulling your shoulder back. And we'll do more shoulder opening Saturday's class is all about the shoulder and neck opening, and not neck opening, shoulder opening and neck release. I look forward to sharing that with you. And that class is open to the public, by the way, so everyone can join in for that one. It's just a drop-in class. They can pay on the site if you want to invite any friends to that. I'd love to have them. All right, let's come to right side pigeon pose. And for today, we're going to do a twist. Left forearm down and turn your navel. Coming on out. Switch sides. Yoga, Citta Vritti Nirodaha. When we channel our attention below the surface of the waves, below the vrittis, the rise and fall of the mind, which again is imagination, memory, sleep, direct perception of what we consider to be right information, and misconception, what would be wrong information. In other words, when our perception alters the truth, because our perception can be altered from our samskaras that we were talking about in the past few classes. Samskaras are the patterns of the mind that can taint or tint our reality. We see things as they are from our past experiences rather than they are as they are now. You know that's the truth typically when you are defending it, when you're feeling righteous about it. You know that you're usually in perception, in misconception rather than direct truth. When you know it's the truth, you don't feel so strongly about defending it. No one goes outside and says, the sky is blue, I swear. You just know it. And things that we just know we're less defensive about. So if you find yourself being defensive about your truth, probably means misconception, which is a harsh thing to take on. Legs out in front. Doesn't always mean that, but quite often. Okay, bow forward. And what's below our opinions and below, maybe even we could say above and below, is our attention. Attention has no opinion. It has no memory. It has no imagination. It has no sleep. It has no misconception or right information. It just is. Attention, or awareness, I should say, is. And we, as a collective mechanism of human, have the opportunity to always tune into that part of ourselves, that just isness, that below the surface of all the waves, that stillness of just being. But it's up to us. Come on up. Cross the ankles. Come to all fours. And lower down. Let's do one more cobra to stretch the abdominals. Fingertips wide, round, inhale. Soften the heart in front of the shoulders. Soften. Shoulders go back behind the chest. Chest presses forward and up. If you can go a little bit wider and reach the toes back. Start to open the throat a little bit by lifting the chin. Keep the teeth closed. Lead with the heart downward. Heart goes first. Then once the gravity is off, then the head releases. Roll onto your back. And give yourself a little hug.
And let go into Shavasana, palms face up, feet out to the side. If you want, for the sake of opening the chest muscles, you can take cactus arms today. Let the shoulders breathe. Let the throat open. Let's take a breath in together. Let it out through the mouth. And relax the teeth and the jaw, the tongue. And feel the sensations of your legs down into the soles of your feet. The fluctuations of the mind and of all of life, the rise and fall, are like the waves on the surface. Below the waves, below the rise and fall, is stillness, isness. Let yourself go below the surface and into the depths of the ocean of awareness. Go into the stillness of all there is and rest there. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice how it feels to be in your body. When you take action toward awareness, observe what you create. Awaken slowly with your breath, fingers and toes. Stretch the arms. Bend the knees and roll to the side. Hold here for a moment. And rise up to a seated position. Place the palms at the heart. Yoga Citta Vritti Nirodaha. When the fluctuations of the mind cease, yoga exists. Or when we harness our attention to go below the rise and fall of the mind and the outside world, and we dive below the surface, the stillness of yoga exists. Thank you for diving below the surface with me today. Thank you for practicing and showing up, stepping onto your mat for the sake of getting to know yourself more deeply, more fully. Bowing inward, observing with gratitude for how you feel. Namaste. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I look forward to sharing some shoulder opening on Saturday with you and releasing the neck. And we'll keep going. If you haven't yet already, the May ClassPass immersion is now available. I sent it out, I believe, in an email. Please check that and sign up. I think it's actually also now available on theyogimat.com/live. So click that link above and you can sign up for the May Pass. Would love to take another adventure with you. Of